All right, so Ray, we're back, better than ever. I think that was what Mike and Mike used to say.
Yes, Mike Greenberg.
I
We're
miss
back
sports.
and better than ever. Yeah.
You. I miss sports.
I do miss sports. One of the things that your mother used to complain to me about all the time was that I watched way too much sports. And her question to me was, why? And I'd say because it was the only real thing on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it desperately. We got the NFL draft coming up on Thursday.
Yes, Thursday and Friday, and maybe even Saturday. And maybe they could, I don't know, maybe they could string it out for a month.
My fingers are crossed. Well, anyway, people don't watch us to talk about the draft, although maybe they will if we start
They
talking.
might.
We'll see. Neither of us are qualified to talk about that. Neither are we qualified. Well, no, we're qualified to talk
You
about
know what we should do just for shits and giggles? We should produce our own one-round mock draft and see just how close we came as the experts have.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. YourAutoAdvocate.com/mock draft. That would be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So here's what we're talking about today: breaking a lease. So we've had a few people that have come to us, especially during the coronavirus. We've talked about in some of our other videos that now is actually a good time if your lease is due, especially this month before the residual values and things like that change next month.
Yes.
Now's a good time to get into a new lease. So the question today, or the topic for us to discuss here is, should you break your lease? How can you break your lease? What's going to happen? So on and so forth.
Here's the deal with leases that most people don't understand. Leases are by nature designed to go full term. So if you're in a 36-month lease, it's designed for you to pay all 36 payments. If you want to get out of a lease early, say, I don't know, at 30 months, well, if there isn't, say, a pull-ahead program from that captive lender that says, gee, business is slow, let's see if we can encourage some of our lessees to come back a little earlier, and we'll waive up to 6 months payments for them to do that, to get them into a new car. You might be surprised at what happens if a program like that's not available. What happens is a lease, just like a car loan, has a payoff. The way the bank figures the payoff on the lease is if there's 6 months left, 6 payments left, 6 times your payment gets added to the residual value, and that becomes your payoff. The bank is not going to give up whatever profits they were going to make off of leasing you that vehicle for that term. So can you get out of a lease early? Like anything, with money, you can do anything you want. If there's no pull-ahead program, what will happen is we can roll, or the dealer can roll, your remaining payments into your new lease. And I've done that on my own lease cars. There was a time, if you probably remember, when I got out of my mini hardtop,
Yep.
I got into my green Mini Clubman, and you know I hated the green, but it was the only one we had at the time. And I did that with 6 payments left. And so I had to factor in $2,400 so that we could cut a check to Mini Financial Services for those remaining payments.
Yep.
So just divide 2,400 by 36 months, and you can figure out exactly how much that 2,400 is impacting your new payment.
Yeah, and I just started, as you were going on there, Ray, I was pulling up. I'm not familiar. Are there places online where you can see if there are pull-ahead programs? Like, would that be on the captive lenders offers page, deals page, things like that?
Probably not. It would be on bulletins that get sent to the dealers.
Yeah.
At the beginning of each month. I can tell you that when I worked at Mercedes-Benz and when I worked at BMW, in Mercedes-Benz in particular, monthly programs might run 80 pages.
Really?
Yes. And I used to say to myself, if it takes 80 pages to explain what the programs are, they're too goddamn complicated. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't take that many pages.
Yeah.
But yes, they in those programs could be listed pull-ahead programs. For instance, like when BMW had the new 3 Series come out last year. There might have been a pull ahead program for people that were in the prior version of the 3 Series to get them out early to put them into the new car.
Yep.
So, but typically, like for instance, with BMW, or when it happened with Mini, it was a 3 or 4 month pull ahead program,
And just to be
not
clear,
6.
yeah, and just to be clear, so the only way that as a consumer or for us as like offering our car buying service, the only way that you get access to that information,
You have to ask.
you have to ask. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So one of the things, if you're thinking of, if you're already in a certain brand and you want to stay within that brand, when you contact the dealer, the first thing you would ask them is, are there any pull ahead programs available for the model that I'm driving now?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And they'll tell you, because it's no sweat off of their nose.
Yeah, and they can move another unit. They can move.
Exactly. That's the whole concept.
So should you break your lease? It's going to be expensive. Could you break your lease? Yes, you could. And when should you, strongly consider that? If there's some sort of pull ahead program that'll
If there's a pull ahead program, or if your payments, you might be 3 months away from the lease ending, and if you roll 3 payments in, it's not a terrible thing.
Well, and also we've talked about in some of our other videos right now, with residual values being good relative to what's probably going to happen to them over the next couple of weeks and months.
Yes.
It might make sense to add lump 3 payments into the next lease, because, well, the residual value is just going to plummet on that starting next month.
Yeah. No, that's, and maybe another time that you might want to consider doing it. But I remember one time I had a customer come to me, and they were driving a Ford Taurus, and they had like a 3-year lease at 12,000 miles a year. So they were allowed to do 36,000 miles, and they had 112,000 miles on the car. And, at 20 cents a mile,
That adds up.
it sure does. And they want to know what they could do.
They could pay 20 cents per mile.
I said, well, what you could do is you could write a big check.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not like the dealer can absorb that for you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So
let me ask you a question, Ray. How many miles are you into your lease?
well, I did drive on Thursday to pick up my groceries, and I believe I'm now at 818 miles, and I've had the car since December 28th. So apparently I should have gone for the 250 mile a month lease.
Oh, man. Well, hey, there you go. If you're thinking about getting out of your lease, that's what you need to consider. And you have any questions, don't be afraid to get in touch with us in the comments, or send us an email, or go to our website. Whatever it is, we're here to help.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to respond, be more than happy to explain how and why. And, I can share some of my hopefully invaluable insights with you.